Hey guys, Metroid Prime Fan 18 here, and yes, I realize this video has been delayed for like 2-3 days now. But with the time I have today before I have to leave for the jam again, because this time the band I want to see starts at 5:45, so with this video I will complete my 5-part Half-Life / Portal series reviews, and of course the final part is Portal. Now, the story behind Portal is you're not really not notified much about this in the game itself, so I had to look this up. It turns out you're playing as this woman who has been chosen to be a part of this project for this corporation called Aperture Science. And basically they're just testing out the use of their portal gun and how well it can be used to maneuver around certain obstacles. And the name of the character you play is not known to you in the game, but some online site I went to once, I learned her name was Chell. Chell is just this ordinary woman. We don't know if she's a scientist or not, it doesn't say, but as far as we know, she's just an ordinary woman who's outfitted to take part in these experiments in Aperture Science. She's got heel springs attached to her feet so she doesn't suffer any damage from long drops, which is good because you'll be doing a lot of long jumps in this game. And the story is, well, if you can call it a story, you use the portal gun, you're maneuvering around all these different obstacles, and this robot named GLaDOS. Now, GLaDOS stands for Genetic Lifeform and Disk Operating System. And GLaDOS guides you along the way, kind of taunting you as you go, and saying all these things about, safety precautions in Aperture Science experiments. She praises you sometimes for your accomplishments with a gun. And she just says all these funny random things as you go along. And she keeps saying that at the end of the test there will be cake. That's supposed to be your reward. But then you find out after you get to the final there's 19 chambers, if I remember correctly. 18 or 9. I think it's 19. And at the end of the final one you see that there is no cake at all. There's in fact a giant fire pit. I mean, this whole thing is basically, oh good, the portal gun works, don't worry, it won't be ruined in the fire pit. You will be. I guess they don't want anyone finding out about these human experiments. Be a pretty obvious guess. Obvious reasons why they'd want to hide it. So then Chell, or you, uses the portal gun to escape the fire pit, and then GLaDOS is like, what are you doing? That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And then you spend the next few levels maneuvering yourself around random sections of the Aperture Science base, or building, whatever it is, complex. I'll call it a complex. And you're attempting to find your way to GLaDOS, and you're having to use all the techniques you learned while using the portal gun in the first levels of the game to get around obstacles in this latter half of the base. I mean, you've got to trick a missile launcher into thinking it's going to hit you, but you've got to form two portals. You start out being able to fire one, but by level 7 or 8, you get the one that fires the second one. But anyway, the missile launcher, you make one portal where it aims. There's a little laser, so you know right where it's going to fire its missile. And the laser has to face the portal, and then you form another portal, which faces towards this piece of breakable glass, which drops a cube that you need to jump on in order to progress to the next part. So the missile fires through both the portals, missing you completely and just hitting the glass. It's just innovative. That's the main word for this game, and gameplay is just plain innovative. You take out turrets by doing the same thing. Basically, you just make two portals. You can just fire one in the ground. The portal the turret will fall right through. And everything in this game talks. I mean, the GLaDOS, of course, talks. The turrets talk. I mean, they'll say things like, if you pick them up, they're like, "Please put me down." And if you throw them down, they either scream or yell. Like, you drop them, they'll scream like, "Ah!" and then say like, "I don't blame you." It's like after you shut them down, you don't really kill them, you just shut them down, because if you set them back up, they'll reactivate, and they're just like, oh, I don't blame you for what you did, or I don't hate you, you're just doing what you have to do. So it's like, I don't know what the word is to describe how they are. I guess apathetic, maybe. I don't know. It's like they're not angry. They're just doing their job, you're doing yours. And then you eventually, of course, reach GLaDOS herself, and you have to take her out. Basically, she starts malfunctioning, and pieces of her, like different personalities of her, start falling off, and you have to destroy those in a way. I'm trying not to spoil this too much. And then you have to guide her missiles that she fires from another missile launcher back to her by forming 2 more portals. It seems hard at first, but it's really not. But you do have a time limit, but still. I mean, you do have like a 6-minute time limit, I think. Some kind of time limit, I'm not sure how long it is. But you shouldn't reach 0. I mean, I beat her my first time. It took me, well, if it was 6 minutes, it took me like 4 out of 6 minutes. And now I can beat her in like less than 2. I mean, you get used to it really fast. And then after you defeat her, the entire base just starts to blow up. You get lifted up out of the base. The screen goes white, and next thing you know, you're laying on the ground, and pieces of Aperture Science and GLaDOS herself are falling next to you. And then it cuts to this kind of weird scene afterwards, with the cameras going through these ventilation ducts into this room full of these cores that were on GLaDOS, and you see a cake in the middle with the candle lit, and all the cores start turning on. And then this robotic hand comes down from the ceiling and puts out the fire, and everything goes dark. And then you hear Still Alive, the credit song, which, in my opinion, is one of the best songs ever. I mean, hell, they put that song on Rock Band, and it's a lot more fun to play than I thought it would be. It's just a funny, yet awesome song, I have to say. So story-wise, even though there's not much story as there is to the Half-Life games, it's still it's more stuff that you have to actually figure out, not what's just told. Like what you're told. You have to kind of figure it out. Gameplay, I explained a lot of that during the story. It's just very innovative. I mean, you guide things using the portal gun. You can jump through portals. You make yourself jump higher. It's basically, and some parts of the game are pretty hard. I mean, they're not like nightmarishly hard, but some parts are pretty challenging. And you don't have a health meter, but if you get hit too many times or you fall in a pit of radioactive slime, yeah, you're gonna die. But you restart, so. And you reach checkpoints and all that, so don't worry about that. And there's also advanced puzzles you can do, which are hard. There's challenges you can do, which I've beat the least portals and least time challenges, even though least time was a bitch. But now there's least steps, which is extremely hard, because you've pretty much got to sprint and just launch portals like crazy, with taking as least steps on the ground as you can. And that's hard for me to do, because if you just tiptoe over there, you're going to take like 10 steps and go 2 inches. I mean, I can't do it at all, so. But gameplay in this game is very innovative. It's very fun. It's addicting like hell. I mean, I've played this game to death. I can't count the number of times I've played it. Maybe I'll try those least steps challenges again later, just for the final few achievements. And then I got Team Fortress 2's achievements. But, oh well. Graphics in this game, exactly like Half-Life 2's. Just brilliant graphics. Very realistic looking in some areas. Controls are fluid controls, not fluid. They're very, not that much of a curve to them, maybe somewhat, but you'll figure it out. Complaints I have with this game, none really. Maybe it was a bit too short, but I mean, other than that, I find nothing wrong with it really. It's challenging in some points. It's fun. It's addicting. Aside from its short length, I mean, you know, I never thought that one part of this game was boring. I mean, there's new challenges every time, basically. So, overall, I give Portal a 9.6 out of 10. And it may seem like I'm a bit biased when it comes to these Half-Life 2 Portal games. Well, trust me, they're worth getting. I mean, I'm not biased, but these are games that are worth having bias over. I mean, these games were incredible, really. I'm not trying to sound biased. I'm just like, I just love these games, and you know. But if you want to get this game, get it. It's worth your money. And again, it's on the orange box. Just get the orange box for all these games together. And with that completes my 5-part Half-Life 2 series / Portal review. And my next video will be, not even I know yet. So until then, and it won't be 3 days again, hopefully. Metroid signing off.